Welcome to Being Intrepid, where we share practical insights with leaders who are shaping the future of learning and work. I'm joined by Nick Bird today. Nick, welcome.
Good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So this is another one of our live DevLearn sessions, and I'm thrilled to welcome Nick, who's a speaker here at DevLearn today. We're going to talk a little bit about his session that he's got planned. But Nick is director of learning and development at ATD, the American Tire Distributors. And Nick, you've got quite a pedigree and a background in corporate learning and development, working with a range of Fortune 500 companies, Hilton, Wyndham, and in the pharmaceutical industry as well. So, welcome, Nick.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it feels like it's been a hot minute, but it's been 25 plus years. So
Yeah. We've known each other for quite some time. We've got a lot of mutual friends in this industry, and
yeah,
when you've been in the corporate learning space for a while, you kind of get to know some people.
yeah, it's like Elliot Maisy, sort of the Kevin Bacon of the learning space.
That's right.
Yeah,
I think everybody knows Elliot, so we're all 1 degree removed. So,
yeah,
I always like to start off the conversations with kind of a little bit of personal inspiration, and
yep.
so Nick, can you tell us, was there a person or an experience that was influential in your career and kind of you helped you set you off on this path?
Yeah, 100%. I think I started college as a physics major.
Okay.
So that's an interesting choice. Didn't
Yeah.
make it real long, but when I started a web development company with a friend of mine in college,
Okay.
and got really into technology and loved working with people.
Yeah.
And it was going great, but I felt like I needed like a real job.
Yeah.
Like it was,
Yeah.
and my father-in-law at the time was doing instruction
Okay.
with Lockheed Martin.
Okay.
Not government stuff, but outside. And I got the opportunity for the better part of 2 years to do course creation and delivery to companies like Bank of America,
Okay.
everything like HTML, JavaScript, VBScript, all those kind of things. And
Okay.
loved being in the classroom,
Okay.
loved being with people, loved seeing the light bulbs come on. So just been doing it ever since.
Okay. Okay. So tell us about ATD and
Yeah.
the business. You've shared this with me. The customers they serve, and then within the organization, like where are you focused, and what are some of the performance and business challenges that you're focused on supporting?
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
clients?
ATD is one of the largest distributors of tires in North America. 3,500 plus employees.
Okay.
A lot of those work at the 100 plus distribution centers all over the country.
Okay.
But we also have professional audiences. We have sales audiences, both inside and outside sales. We have customer service audiences. So between the supply chain, the professional corporate employees, and those sales and service teams, quite a lot of different needs, right?
Yeah.
A lot of deskless workers.
Right.
So, I think for us, the challenge is always focused on how can we create the best experience for our customer?
Yeah.
How can we help our teams get better?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's unique. So it's been a really challenging and fun 2.5 years at ATD.
Right.
And I think, and we'll talk about today, AI has really been a great tool in helping us move things forward.
Yeah, so let's talk about kind of bridge to your session, and which is really focused on practical use of generative AI, and clearly that comes out of your experience at ATD. So
Yep.
tell us what you've experienced the last few years and how that's informed this. Tell us about your session and how your practical experiences kind of form that.
Yeah, it's sort of like my AI origin story.
Yeah.
So I look back at, it's been about April of 23.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was real conscious of generative AI. I wasn't looking at ChatGPT.
Yeah.
There was a practical reason. So we have, Storyline, Rise, like everyone else, and we're building courses, and we had a lack of audio quality.
Okay.
And we needed a text-to-speech alternative.
Okay.
And some of the stuff that was out there was real robotic. And we happened along 11 Labs. And I'm sure everyone that's listening has experienced 11 Labs at this point, but this was almost 2.5 years ago. They were a Reddit site with you took a credit card, and that was it.
Wow. Okay.
But it was fantastic. The quality was fantastic, and it just opened my eyes to, okay, there's something here, and it sort of evolved from there with other projects. And I worked with Exonify previously as an LMS vendor. And they were one of the leaders in that space at the time, putting a RAG solution into play.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just, grown from there. And that got me into ChatGPT and just studying everything I could about generative AI.
Yeah. So you really started with a particular problem, a particular use case, and you weren't like out there doing like funny limericks and like the rest of us, right?
No, I wasn't creating a video gen. Yeah, no, it really was, how do we get better audio quality,
Yeah.
more consistent voice into our e-learning so that we're meeting the audience, not just visually and textually, but audio, and audio. So
Yeah.
it was a great thing. We're spending, at the time, it was a $20 a month investment.
Oh, incredible. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it met a great need for us.
Yeah. Was there anything you tried early on too on the flip side that you were like, not ready for prime time? That didn't work.
Well, I would say, like I said, when we piloted using a RAG solution inside of our LMS to do knowledge management.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
bringing all of our content into the LMS and letting people natural language ask.
Yeah, sure.
It had great fidelity, but what we learned is that our teams didn't understand how to use it.
So they didn't understand what to ask of it?
They didn't understand how to prompt.
Yes.
Right? So like then
Got it.
I would have result sets come back and I'd go, I've got one word as the prompt.
Uh-huh.
The culture has been so much of, metadata search
Uh-huh.
that people
Yep.
just think of everything as a metadata search and they don't write
Right.
the questions like
Right.
you would expect.
Do you think your population has changed, and if that was rolled out today, they would the level of prompting is improved, or do you think that would still be a challenge?
Yes, I think it has changed. And I think it's because we did a pilot, because we touted how successful that was,
Yeah.
and because our current provider, Docebo, does something similar. Right. So we have that and we use that RAG solution. And I'll tell you, that has been that ability to ask questions about content,
Yeah.
and get answers in the platform is a game changer.
Yep. Well, I saw you saw my LinkedIn post this morning about insights, and thank you for reading that.
Yeah.
Because we see absolutely the same thing, being able to ask questions of data, ask questions of your course.
I did like your post because it's exactly, and you and I had talked about some of the cool stuff that Intrepid is doing. I think you offering that ability to parse your content and really get to the data. I mean, if you're not doing that as a provider, you're going to be behind.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about the session. You're going to take a hands-on approach, a BYOD kind of approach. Talk to us about the skills that you're going to be working with folks on, and then how you'll be teaching them today.
Yeah, so the real focus is just trying to get over, I think there's still a lot of fear, but just the unknown with large language models and how to use them and how to leverage them effectively. And so we're going to talk about the importance of complex prompting.
Yeah.
And our friend Josh Cavalier, shout out to Josh,
Yeah.
posted about recently, the best prompts are often not simple.
Yeah.
Right? They require context. They require all sorts of information. So we'll talk about how can you do that. We'll talk about how you can potentially leverage custom GPTs and how you can use it in all of your L&D life, right? And so I say that everything from converting documents formats. I did something recently where I had an old set of test questions.
Yeah.
But my learning management system needed them in a specific format.
Right.
Well, I told ChatGPT, here's my stuff. Here's what I want you to know about it. Here's a format I want it in. And it extracted me the document. And so what would have taken me hours before to type that into the right format, it was literally 2 minutes. Right? So it's all those kind of things, how to use custom GPTs to create games, you name it. But we're going to try and show people strategies, whether that's ChatGPT, whether that's Claude, Gemini, Copilot. It doesn't matter which tool you use. They all have strengths and opportunities that you can leverage.
Yeah. Talk to us about like how do you talk to this audience or in general with maybe your own team about this kind of trade-off between speed and quality? We talk about this. I mean, it's incredible the pace at which AI can produce results, but then it doesn't replace the need for the human to evaluate the outputs. So talk to us about that trade-off and how do we, I mean, there's a lot of research coming out right now about people losing cognitive function because they're getting lazy and relying on this too much. So how do you think about that? How do you talk to audiences
It's
about
like
this?
the swiping generation on the phones, right? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think for me, I always say to them, large language models are a tool,
Yep.
right? Like any other tool that we use, they are a tool, and yes, they can accelerate the creation of content, and yes, they can be used for all sorts of things. And we'll talk about all the different things that are common uses of large language models in the instructional design process, right? There's lots of different things you can do, but I think you always need to remember one, safety, right? You shouldn't be just sticking anything out into a GPT that then goes into the ether and is available for other people. So you have to be thoughtful about that and know your IT security rules and all that stuff. But also, you're right. Everything that comes out is not perfect and right because it came out of ChatGPT or another tool. So it's your job to read it and to make sure that it's the tone, it's the diverse nature of the content, like whatever it happens to be.
Right.
So yeah, I think, and that's part of building better prompts, is that you can educate whether that's Gemini or whomever, you can educate it so that you're saying, I want the diversity of my characters to be X. I want the tone to be Y. I want, to speak this way. And you're going to get solutions that are in tune with your business.
Right.
Versus, I need a business scenario on coaching.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm sure you'll get a good generic example that doesn't speak to your audience at all.
Exactly. It's like, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of my prep for these podcasts, right? I had half a dozen podcasts I needed to prep for. And so I used AI to, one of the things I asked for was, give me what my guests have written, some of the recommendations they've written based on like what I'm going to focus the conversation on. And there were some good stuff, and there was some stuff that was completely useless too. Totally. So, but I mean, helpful, right? It's so you can't outsource the brain, the judgment and the wisdom.
Your goal should be accelerate. So one of the things we'll talk about is business scenarios, right?
Yeah.
So the example for me was I had a leader come to me and say, we're going to create virtual instructor-led training for our leadership team based on our competencies, but I want real world scenarios.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Well, that's a long process to write business scenarios.
Absolutely.
But if I can set up a prompt that tells them everything that I needed to know about our business and what we're trying to do.
Absolutely.
And then I can feed that. So we're going to talk about base prompts and branch prompts. If I have a base prompt that's got all that structure,
right,
and then I can create a prompt off of that says, okay, now I need this particular business scenario, and here's my characters. And it can draw on that knowledge. And it can generate the scenario. It can generate the knowledge check questions. It can generate what should the instructor be listening for in the answers from the class.
Right.
And give them an instructor guide. And I was producing those. So that's a 2-hour virtual instructor training. We were producing those in days from start to finish because it accelerated. Now, does it excuse me? No, I have to read every inch of what it generates, and I have to make sure it's the right tone and it doesn't mess stuff up because it does. Right. But yeah, that's weeks before. It takes days now.
Yeah, incredible. So when you're talking to the audience, your session, what's your advice for how a small team could get started, with a free or even low cost large language model, or can they? At this point, do they really need a corporate subscription, would you say?
I would say, so the corporate subscriptions, you're seeing that a lot in Copilot, where enterprises that have Microsoft 365 have a Copilot enterprise. And we have that at American Tire, and that's great. And if it's sensitive information, please. We've been told we can put more sensitive things in there because that's a restricted environment. Right. But a lot of times, it's between us, a lot of times what I'm building isn't business sensitive data.
That's right.
Right. It's a leadership topic. It's whatever. It doesn't require me to be sensitive. Now, I would also say, don't be locked in and I'll ask this question in my session, what's your favorite LLM? And I'm very certain what the answer is going to be.
Yes.
But don't be so sure that that's the best solution for you. And don't be locked into it being your only solution, because when you are in the free tools and the free tools do work great, you run out of time. You run out of prompts that you can ask, right? Context. So it'll say you're out of time for now. Come back at 4 p.m. And you're like, well, it's 11 a.m. and I still got work to do. So, when I first started, I would say to your question, pick one thing that you know it can support. Use a variety of tools, and don't be afraid. If you run out of time with ChatGPT, open up Claude and say, here's what I'm done.
Yep.
Here's what it's produced so far.
Yep.
Give it, and what we call multimodal prompts, give it the context of what you've built already. It will go, oh, okay, that's interesting. I can help you continue to do that work of creating scenarios because I understand what you've done.
Right.
And then you'll get another 2 hours of free usage. And then you jump over to Gemini and you say, here's what I've done. And you can get a lot of work done. And you might find, don't be surprised, you might find that you like the way Claude writes better than the way ChatGPT writes. Yep. And a lot of people do, by the way. It is a different kind of writing style that comes out of each one of them.
Right.
So yeah, keep your mind open to the different platforms. Be thoughtful about sensitive information and start small.
Yep.
Do something you understand and you can measure quickly, and then reevaluate and say, okay, is it worth an investment?
Yeah, I love what you're saying too, because clearly you're just, like you said, you're getting exposure. You're doing similar tasks, but you're getting exposure to the nuances of these different tools, and you're learning like your preferences and what they're good at, and through doing some real work.
And what they do different, and they do offer different features. Some of them have the ability to create project folders.
Yep.
They deal with attachments differently. When it creates artifacts for you, they handle that differently.
Yep. Yep.
How you can share and create complex prompts is different. So yeah, really look at them because you might be surprised.
Awesome. Well, let's close with a lightning round here.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Scared.
Here we go. This is easy. Your favorite learning design prompt?
I love the fun I'm having right now with the game stuff.
Okay.
Because the ability to essentially have my GPT interview me and create like a Jeopardy game or something that I can use in my LMS to create a fun, different way to test instead of just a multiple choice question where you just And I've done some fun stuff with like Wheel of Fortune style and cool. Jeopardy style, and it's so 80s.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, people just really like to do something different.
Yeah, and have some fun.
Have some fun. So,
the most overrated aspect of AI in L&D is.
I think I'm going to get some stick on this one. The overrated thing for me right now is video gen.
Okay.
Like I think video gen is cool. I just don't have a whole lot of reason to use it very often.
All right.
But it is, I think, and you and I were talking about something offline earlier, but as we get a better understanding of the cost of these things and the scalability of it, I think you'll see it grow. But I think right now it's like people creating videos of a zombie horse running through a scene or something. It's not something I'm using day to day for leadership training or something.
Fascinating. Interesting. Okay. Most underrated aspect of AI and L&D.
Yeah, this is the thing that I mentioned, and big shout out to the folks at Intrepid, the AI sales coaching space. I think the work that you and I talked about recently, what you guys are doing, there is such an opportunity there. I don't think people are thinking about it, but again, as we start to understand cost and we start to think about all of the use cases, whether it's sales coaching, service coaching, leadership coaching, having real contextual conversations with feedback that I can really take away and learn from, I think it's going to blow people's minds.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just talking to a CEO of a sales training company yesterday, and the coaching a salesperson for a sales manager is like one of those things you fit in on the edges, and then therefore it doesn't happen a lot. And if you've got people out in the field all over the place, like it becomes an afterthought, and this becomes a real solution for that.
One of my first jobs, my early jobs, I worked for RWD Technologies, and that's where our mutual friend, and where we came across each other. Right, I remember working with Richardson, and building a choose your own adventure style sales training kind of thing, where talking head, and like you would get to choose your answer, and it might take you down a good path or a bad path. But I think about the evolution of sales training and where it's going. It's incredible. Yeah.
Awesome. Tell us about something you want to focus on learning in 2026. What's a learning goal you have?
Yeah, I think I hear agentic AI so much.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of things that are called agents that are probably not agents.
Yes.
And there's things that are agents that are agents. And I think for me, it's been 2.5 years, but I feel like I'm still on a journey here. I think really understanding where I can bring agents into the equation.
Right.
And I think about things like, can we, do quality review of, recordings of service calls,
Yeah.
things like that, like where an agent is parsing those things and giving us feedback. And I had a conversation with the CHRO 2 or 3 weeks ago and talking about things like Workday. Could agents be listening to or looking at all of the feedback that's happening in performance reviews and rolling that up and saying, like, here's what we're seeing where there might be gaps in the way that they're doing their jobs or the way they're communicating, or so there's a lot of power there. I feel like I don't know enough yet to be dangerous.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's there's and things are moving so quickly too. So
yes, I joked with someone earlier. I was like, I think when I submitted my session to speak 6 or 7 months ago, I had one thing in mind, and I realized quickly, I'm like, the pace of change in the space that I'm trying to talk about is incredible.
So fast.
And I've probably rewritten my presentation for this session 3 times.
Yes.
In that time, because it's just a different world. Even this morning, ChatGPT is talking about the ability to have a collaborative conversation with your team and the LLM.
Okay.
Where you can decide when it responds, how it responds, so like multiple people can be interacting in this conversation. That is incredibly crazy to think about.
Yep.
But how powerful is that as a collective, maybe an instructional design team where you're working on a solution, and like, I have an idea for a prompt, I prompt the agent, and then you prompt, and then we get to a collective solution.
Yeah.
I just think if you're not on something like TLDR or Superhuman AI, where you get daily emails, like, do that.
Yep.
That's one of my big suggestions, because like I get stuff every day and I go, wow, I didn't even know that was coming, but it keeps you in tune and spend that 5-10 minutes because it's that fast.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, thank you for joining me.
Sure.
Really enjoyed the conversation.
My pleasure.
And wishing you the best in your session today.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed having you on.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you all.
Awesome. So listeners, if you enjoyed this session, you can follow Being Intrepid on your favorite podcasting platform, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, etc. Until next time, keep asking the tough questions, stay curious, and keep on learning. Thank you.